Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? I'm here with David Chaumet, the CEO of Roger Dubuis. I love this year because it's like every key maison has exactly the right person that's leading it as well. Obviously, Jaja has Jérôme Lambert, Tag Heuer has Antoine Pin. These guys are all having these like maisons in their blood, and that's certainly true for David as well. David is a Roger Dubuis man through and through. How are you, sir?
Really good, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, thanks a lot.
So I love the booth because there's such a wonderful expression of the singularity and heritage of Roger Dubuis. You've got some of the original watches there. I mean, I love to look at the Too Much to Follow Me. Of course, the original sympathy with the double retrograde perpetual calendar, which was the key innovation of Roger and Jean-Marc Wiedrich. You even have Roger's daughter coming to the booth as well.
Exactly.
So nice.
She is, yeah.
And you even have Jean-Marc Wiedrich coming in as well.
Yes, for sure. Jean-Marc and the son and so on. And through the history of Roger, that we know the history, but I think it's quite important to reload, in fact, the why of Roger Dubuis and the why his passion for watchmaking. So from his childhood, we know the story. He had the church, he was working to school, listening to the gong of the big church clock, and then he went to have a look to the mechanism, which made him fan about mechanics first. And then while seeing all the gear trained and at a big size in this church in his village, he decided to study at the watchmaking school in Geneva, and then created his first school timepiece. That was Geneva Sealed. So wow. Strong roots to Geneva. Then he had a career, as you know, as a watchmaker for several other maisons, and he decided, on the late, in fact, after 50, to create, together with Mr. Diaz, to create Roger Dubuis. And you said I had a personal connection with this maison, and that's true. I've been hired by Mr. Diaz. I've been collaborating for years with Mr. Roger Dubuis. And while discussing about the retro, in fact, that's Jean-Marc that told me this. In fact, Roger was the creative purpose of Roger Dubuis, that was really to create timepieces with a high watchmaking Geneva tradition, together with a design that has to be different, unexpected, and a marker of differentiation through expressivity. And along the year, we see that, and I selected just 3 timepieces, and I think they are a strong marker of the history. You have the Sympathie bi-retrograde, because Roger, for the retro, considered that a week start and finish, and either you are early in the week, midweek, end of the week, and then you jump back to the origin. While if you are in a guichet or through an aperture, you don't know if you are in the middle, at the end, the beginning, if it's resetting or not. So that was a key element, and for him, it was way better to animate and to see what's happening through the jump of the end. So Sympathy was a marker. Then for sure, Excalibur double tourbillon. That was another step for the maison, moving more into expressivity, strong design, and higher expressive watchmaking with double tourbillon differential, but still with the finesse of retrograde, jumping hour, nice and elegant complication. Finally, 10 years after, for the 20 years anniversary, the restoration timepiece with all the passion of Roger for perpetual calendar, minute repeater, restoration piece, and the bi-retro, and together with as well all the colors he loved, which are chocolate or dark element to give contrast with rose gold, touch of white and touch of red. And in that sense, when we worked on the 30th anniversary timepiece, it has been all the Roger Dubuis, as much as Roger Dubuis we could integrate into it, has been designed and developed by the watchmakers.
It's such a cool watch, so I love how you've taken the double retrograde expressiveness. You've actually done it in an interesting way where instead of having them facing directly each other, they're slightly canted as well, which brings a little twist to it. One thing that I absolutely love on the watch is that it's a skeleton dial, so it's exposed. And you see the 2 bridges that are containing the trains for the retrograde jump. So you have the limaçon and but these bridges are so beautifully expressed with these really stunning handmade inner angles to show the high watchmaking that goes into there. Talk to me a little bit about that and why you decided to show the watchmaking,
Roger Dubuis, we have been hosting and developing, masterizing all the 4 eye complications since really early. So chronograph, tourbillon, minute repeater, perpetual calendar, in-house since nearly the origin of the maison. Then the pieces are Geneva Seal certified, as you know for sure. Moving higher into this. So first of all, for the dissymmetry, let's call it like this, dissymmetric call approach of the bi-retro. If you remind me you well, the perpetual calendar at Roger Dubuis, the RD39, slide 2, you had the 2 indication at 5 and 7 o'clock. And that was not aligned, that was slightly dissymmetric. And you have many timepieces in this story that are not perfectly symmetric, but quite often dissymmetric. Tourbillon cage and so on is quite often not centered.
Right.
And that was a point we decided as well to integrate this timepiece as a tribute to Roger. Concerning the finishings, we consider we have integrated at Roger Dubuis nearly a 5th eye complication, that is our own eye complication, through the skeleton approach, designing the skeleton, showing the beauty of the finishings and of all the operations. For this timepiece, we did not want it to have skeleted, but as you mentioned, we wanted to have it open on the beauty of the component, and to make it even more stunning, yes, we decided to inner angles as many components as we could to make all the competencies of the teams into the finishing of those components.
Yeah, really lovely. Of course, flying tourbillon on the back. You've got double micro rotor.
Yeah, exactly.
Am I correct that one's for the tourbillon, the other one's for the strike trains? Yeah.
They are both connected together. Yeah.
They're both connected. They're both connected together.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have a pretty amazing sounding minute repeater. So a perpetual calendar, flying tourbillon, double rotor, and then micro and minute repeater. We're going to play the minute repeater for you. The watchmaker will do that up close, so then you can listen to what it sounds like. I have to say, really stunning minute repeater. I mean, the sound quality is fantastic. Okay, so let's go from this to the other watch that you're launching for this year.
We wanted as well to offer the opportunity to the Roger Dubuis aficionados, or the one to discover in depth Roger Dubuis, to as well be exposed to a timepiece where we could find all the essence of Roger Dubuis while being more accessible, less exclusive, let's call it like this. And through reintegrated a strong signature of Roger Dubuis that has been, since the early days, present in the timepiece, and the wish of Roger to have mother of pearl in timepieces
it's awesome.
For men. So designing a timepiece, the bi-retro for sure, automatic Geneva Seal movement, as well as a slight touch of mother of pearl around the dial.
I love it, man. It's awesome. Like, you have these massive double retrograde apertures here with the stunning bridges with the inner angles. I would imagine they're in steel, but beautifully finished as well. And then I love this touch of mother of pearl, which you're absolutely right. You know, Roger Dubuis introduced that into the lexicon of men's watches. It's a great watch.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is a double retrograde watch, not a perpetual calendar.
Double retrograde. Yeah.
What is the price of this watch, if I may ask?
Price point is so I'll give you. Without tax, I'll give you Swiss francs.
Maybe not the American price, because we don't know what it is.
We don't know that. It's slightly 50,000 Swiss francs,
right.
And the timepiece will be available in a few months for any Roger Dubuis lover.
I have to say, there's a decent value proposition there. You know, I mean, it's a massive gold case, right? Incredible watchmaking, fantastic hand finishing to it as well, and a really lovely expression of the signature complication. I love it. I see also that there's a Poinçon de Genève on the dial as well.
Exactly.
Poinçon de Genève is something that you guys are so famous for, and in fact, you had to work with a Poinçon de Genève to even certify some watches because the finishing became so contemporary as well. I really respect that.
Exact. And then for this timepiece, you see that the Geneva Seal is on the dial.
Yeah.
Which has to be, we had to get an exemption for it because usually the stamp has to be on a movement component, and it has been accepted by the Geneva Seal organization because it was part of a 30th anniversary program.
That's so. Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
really.
that's very cool.
If you look at the back of the timepiece afterward, you will see, and it's as well quite a signature, together with the Just for Friends approach that you know,
Yes, I love
the
that.
Roger Dubuis community of the time. A sentence was created by our founders, and that was engraved on the oscillating weight
Right.
of the early timepieces. And this sentence is in French and written by Roger. And in English, it's a contemporary timepiece, inspired but not submitted to the past, that project us in the future that belong to us.
Amazing.
And we have decided to add this sentence on the back on the timepiece around the movement to really echo to their passion for time creation and so on.
I mean, I'm sure I'm not the first person to ask you, but of course, would you have plans to introduce just the double retrograde perpetual calendar into the collection?
I would love it. I would love it.
I think
that's a great idea.
I think collectors would be waiting for that
idea.
watch. I think
That's
they would
a great
absolutely.
idea.
Well, one other question is, when you launched, or when Roger launched the brand with Carlos Diaz back in the day, it was rather spectacular. It was like the sexy Latin cousin of Patek, kind of, you know what I mean? And it was always sort of supported by the idea of Geneva Seal and then Bulletin d'Observatoire from Besançon. Would you ever submit the watches again for some form of external testing like that?
Considering the Observatoire of Besançon, we tried to get in touch with this organization
So cool.
for the timepiece, and then they wanted that ready to work on the certification together with us. So we have it in mind, and we think it was quite a cool approach. Then what I would like to say as well about this timepiece, because it's quite important, Roger Dubuis, while being expressive in all what we do, in the way we express our watchmaking capabilities, that's a 40 millimeter diameter timepiece, which you did
That's
not mention
fantastic.
just for as a note, the last 40 millimeter launch by Roger Dubuis was an homage 40 millimeters, so that was quite a while ago.
The H40,
and
yeah.
We strongly believe that with this expression, design codes, size as well, but more than size, ergonomics of the timepiece, we're going to open Roger Dubuis and our creation to a new audience.
Yeah, this
I would say.
wearability is great. 40 mm, as you mentioned, and I believe it's just over 11 mm in terms of thickness as well. So super easy to wear. Yeah, bravo. I guess the last question I have for you is that as we're walking around this magnificent display, I think the watches that all of us stop and are like, oh, wow, are the extraordinary and incredibly unique sympathy case watches. Would you be sympathetic to
sympathetic to have the sympathy to rework a sympathy case, that's it?
Is that a possibility?
Let's see what could happen.
Understood.
You know that as well through the connection with our audience, we have one to few or even one-to-one relationship with our community, with the Just for Friends community. And in that sense, we have an extraordinary place, the Q Lab that you visited, where we do all the rarities, timepieces, the Bespoke program of Roger Dubuis, where, and nobody will know, but some clients, and you see there is an amazing homage in the exposition that is a piece that belonged to a client that he gave back to us. It's unique.
Yes.
It's one of the highly complicated timepieces that we did in Roger Dubuis.
Wow.
It was a few years ago.
Right.
It's an homage case, and it has been bespoke for a client.
Incredible.
So the beauty of Roger Dubuis that as well, not any wish, because it still have to be realistic for sure, but personalization is really part of our DNA since the origin. And as you remind you, the 8th story of founding was through the first bespoke order to Roger. And Roger was not, he said, okay, no, we do only limited edition with limited quantities.
Yes.
It was not an 8, in fact. He had another number in mind.
Right.
And the gentleman placing the order was an Asian gentleman. And he told him, you should use the 8 because 8 is lucky and you will have good luck. And since that day, 8, 28, as you know.
Yes. Fantastic. I forgot one. I have one last question. Sorry. You probably remember very well the era of Dominique Baron, you know, and some of the stunning enamel work that you used to do. She was an extraordinary artisan, but in your DNA also is enamel,
Exact.
miniature painting.
Exact.
Also some interest in perhaps bringing that.
It could happen.
It could happen.
Yes,
Okay,
could happen in
great.
the future.
David, it's a pleasure
Thank you,
to see
Wei.
you. Yeah,
Pleasure to have you.
I don't
Thanks a
think
lot.
Roger Dubuis could have a better leader than you. I think everyone's very delighted about that. So
Thank you for the comment. Thank you.